Folks, the plot thickens. This is based on the latest information that NASA have been able to get. Yes, I'm telling you, those guys are investigating without stopping. Well, quite rightly so. I mean, if somebody steals from you, you will stop at nothing. Yeah, especially an election. Anyway, sometimes this question of computer servers can get very confusing. So let me just break it down for you so that you can be totally appalled the way I've been. Totally disgusted, yeah, that human beings can actually do this. The evil plan that was executed on August 8th was this. The idea was to cook results and then use those results to declare the winner. Yeah. Now, what would happen to the real results? The real results were transmitted to a server in France. Okay, and the way this server was set up, the results were then not retransmitted, yeah, back to a central server, which would tally the results. Yeah, are we together there? In other words, the main server tallying the results from across the country never received the real results. Okay, that's what the NASA are telling us in their statement. Yeah, instead those results went to a server in France and got stuck there. Now, of course, this makes perfect sense because if the results were allowed to trickle into the main server tallying the results, then we would not have gotten the consistent 54%. Yeah, that would have been a bit hard to, that would have been impossible to get. Yeah, the consistent 54 is definitely an algorithm, and for this algorithm to work, it did not need any interference from any other numbers except numbers coming from approved sources, if I can just call them that. Yeah, for the purposes of cheating, for the purposes of fraud. Now, NASA have dragged in Safaricom into this, and what they're saying is that Safaricom was involved in that they were allies or they were accomplices in transmitting the results only to one source and not completing the whole transmission. Yeah, and they knew very well that these results were only going to one particular source, which was out of the way. Yeah. Now, this is a bit of a tall order. I mean, Safaricom have already defended themselves. They have said that they played, in a nutshell, what they have said is that they played their part and they did not collude with anybody. Safaricom has also said they're very ready for any probe, any major probe into the activities during the elections, etc., etc. The main thrust of what I'm discussing here, or what I want Kenyans to know, is that the IEBC, in collusion with other people, yeah, government agents, yes, came up with a plan which was so evil, so evil, yeah, that I don't know how to describe it. Get Kenyans out in the hot sun, in mothers with babies voting, while they're just wasting their time. Okay, the results have already been cooked. The real results, what people are going to vote, were not the results that announced President Uhuru Kenyatta as the winner. Yeah, that is really the long and short of it. Now, what just flows me in all this business is that an election is supposed to be a transparent thing. It's supposed to be an open. The Constitution doesn't need to say it, although the Constitution says it very clearly. Any election you hold must be transparent. There are no secrets, okay? But the thing which amazes me is that this election, up to this point in time, still has secrets. What am I talking about? The server, yeah, the IEBC have flatly refused to give access to the server, okay? In fact, as you have seen in my earlier recording, the government has come up with the perfect strategy, or so they think, yeah, of diverting attention away from opening the servers by saying, let's count the ballots. Yeah, let's open up all the ballot boxes that were used for the presidential elections, and let's count the ballots. Yeah, that's the strategy they've come up with. Yeah, the whole idea is, the way now the public receives it, it's just propaganda. Yeah, people will say, oh, NASA have asked for the servers to be opened. Jubilee have asked for the ballot boxes to be opened. That's really what it is. If you caught my earlier recording, you'd get this very clearly. Yeah. But what is the end game here? The end game is the government and the IBC do not want under any circumstances full access to be granted to those servers. Now, this is ridiculous. Those are not government secrets. Those are not state secrets. That's the general election. That's the country's election. That's a presidential election. Yeah? Everything should be opened. I mean, any individual, let alone NASA, any individual should be able to walk up to IEBC and say and get any information they want on the presidential election. The fact that the server remains shut, tightly shut up to this minute, and we're getting evasive tactics, we're getting tactics to redirect people in another direction, diversionary tactics, is just a shame. And then the same people who committed this evil come up and say, we'll win by 70+1, we have the majority, we beat Raila and we'll beat him again. Oh gosh. And when they're talking big like this, they're not acting like they have the majority at all. They're not. In fact, their actions tell us very clearly that they're scared they had the minority. That should be very obvious. I mean, even if you're the most unobservant person on earth, what do you say to a situation whereby one particular part of the political divide has to buy t-shirts, has to pay people, has to transport people to get a crowd? Yeah? Anywhere outside Central Province and the Rift Valley. Yeah? They have to transport people. Indeed, even in parts of the Rift Valley, they have to do that. Yeah? But if you look at NASA, gosh, NASA don't need to buy any t-shirts for people. They don't need to transport any people. They are somewhere, there's a crowd, and that crowd has not been paid. So who has the numbers here? Go figure out that for yourself. Anyway, so that's the latest on this very, very shameful and this horror story. I'd actually like to call it a horror story. Yeah, this horror story of August 8th elections. Okay, actually it's becoming increasingly clear that NASA would be mad to rush into another election after what happened on August 8th. Really, even if it was you. Yeah, indeed, I dare add, in fact I must add, the fact that NASA have behaved in a very cool manner and in a very mature manner. I am very sure that if this was done to Jubilee, hey, the situation today would be very different. But then of course NASA people have older people, more mature people, people who are more experienced in politics. They've been in politics for a long time. And I think with age comes wisdom and restraint. That's all I can say, yeah? Because really, what was done to NASA on August 8th, what was done to the Kenyan people on August 8th and the days after, I mean, is just horrifyingly unimaginable that something like that could actually happen. And then to make matters worse, the side that was favored by all that horror story comes up and says, oh, NASA, you're giving unreasonable requests, or NASA is scared of election, or NASA doesn't want elections. Meaning that what they want to do, they want really, is for NASA to shut up, yeah? NASA to shut up and wait to be rigged out again. Oh boy. How evil can people be? Really? How evil can people be? How precious is this power that somebody must cling to at all costs? Gosh. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.